The reigning champions of the Big Ten and the Rose Bowl are the Michigan State Spartans. Mike Hall back here on BTN Live. As promised, we bring in Mark Dantonio, the head coach of the Green and White. All right, your spring game is done. The practices are all over as well. Which area of your team the last month or so has impressed you the most?
I think really our quarterback play has been very impressive. Connor Cook, I think, has stepped forward. Our wide receivers have had a great spring as well. But you look across the board, we've got some holes to fill on the defensive side of the ball, but still playing very well over there competitively. But tough to say when you want to look at one particular area. But I think Connor has established himself this spring as opposed to last year. He was trying to get the job, had a great fall campaign. He's more polished. He's doing more things. He's more active in the pocket, some of those type of things.
Which area needs most work? It sounds like you're leaning on the defensive side.
Well, I just think that we have young linebackers. Tawan Jones is in the middle for the first time, so he's adapting to that. So he's had 15 practices there, and he's done some very good things. Darian Harris is in his first year starting, and Ed Davis was out with an injury. So and those are probably our first guys. But then after that, you've got a young group of freshmen, redshirt freshmen, those type of players. So Riley Bullis stepping back over there after being at the tailback position, so he's a young player as well. But I think they've all done good things, but they're younger, so they're not as advanced maybe in their play in and play out, being able to sustain. But they certainly can play a number of plays. They got to put together a longer string of plays, I think, more consistently.
You mentioned how impressive Connor Cook has been, and with that in mind, where can Damian Terry fit in on this team?
Well, both Damian Terry and Tyler O'Connor are both improved football players, and Damian has that ability. He has that run-pass ability. You saw that in the spring game on the very first play. The White had it. He can do a number of things. He's quick twitch guy, and he's a big guy. He's 6'3 plus, 230 pounds. Tyler O'Connor, I know he threw an interception on the first play, and I know he threw one on the last play. But if you take those out of there, he had a pretty productive spring game as well. So, we played a little bit more than half of a football game. So. I think that was a positive.
I want you to look back to last year, specifically on the offense. Give me an A through F grade on where the offense was at the spring game, where the offense was at the beginning of the year, and where the offense was by the end of the season.
I think our offense collectively at the end of spring practice last year was about a C. We didn't have an identity at tailback, and our quarterback position had become a position of competition. I thought our offensive line was solid and our wide receivers needed to be more consistent, so it was about a C. As we went into the early 2013, again, it was probably a C or maybe even a C minus because of the number of points we put on the board. I really felt like when you looked at our offense at the end of the season, if you take into account the Rose Bowl as well, I think you've really got to say A minus. Not many turnovers, not many sacks. I think they played very well down the stretch, and I think collectively as a football team, that's why we were able to do the things we had to do.
Considering all that, what's the grade for the offense this year after this spring game?
After the spring game, sort of tough. I really haven't watched the film yet this morning in terms of our coaching copy, so I'm gonna hold back on that one right now because we're getting ready for 14 and. But, we saw some good things. You saw some good defensive plays as well. So I think sometimes it's more, was that a good play by the offense or a bad play by the offense? Was that a great play by the defender or was it just a bad play?
Okay, so we'll give it an incomplete, a TBA, see teacher later for further details.
That's good.
Fair
Check.
Enough. What was the hardest job interview you ever had, Mark?
The hardest job interview. Wow, you guys always ask me questions. I have no clue about what I'm going to ask. That's why I always say, ask me another question, I guess. But
well, there's a reason for this one. I'll get to it in a second, but can you think of your hardest job interview?
No, not really. I would think you would think it would be about coaching, but I probably had an interview somewhere along the lines, doing something else, but. No, can't really think of it.
The reason I ask is because a week ago I talked with Pat Narduzzi, and I was asking him about job interviews, and he says when he interviewed with you at Cincinnati, it was intense, and the main thing was you had him teach you how to tackle. Do you remember that?
He had the job going in. Who's he kidding?
How's he changed over the years?
I think Pat's grown, as we all do over the course of time. We've been together 10 years, so he's 48 years old right now, and he came to us at 38. I think he's gotten stability because of having been here, the longevity of being at Michigan State, and even at Cincinnati. There's stability that surrounds his resume. So I think when you hire Pat Narduzzi, you're going to get a guy that's going to stay for a while. He's not going to look to jump. He's got great relationships with our players. He's an extremely hard worker. He's very detail-oriented. He's an aggressive defensive coach, just like I was when I was coaching at Ohio State and as a defensive coordinator. And I think defensive coordinators make great head coaches, and I think that's on the horizon for him.
Give me your summer plans, Mark. You're going to have at least one day to go hang out with Izzo on the boat or something, right?
Oh yeah, we'll have one day or more with Tom. But my summer plans, I'm going to plan to go to Italy for a short time at some point, and then the rest of the time I'm going to probably spend either here at the office or at the beach. One of the two. So I'll make sure I split that up a little bit. But
if you're going to spend all that time with players and in the office, that means your billiards game is going to continue to suffer.
My which game?
Your billiards. You're playing pool.
Oh, my pool game? No, it's always going to be there. I need one warm-up game and I'm good.
Mark Dantonio, head coach of the Spartans. Thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much.